My name is Meine, and I am a candidate in the MFA program at the California College of the Arts, and I am currently in my second year there. The idea of presenting my artistic practice in a way that demonstrates my technical skills, a sense of conceptual rigor, and the theoretical interest driving my work, both adequately and accurately, in such a way that is engaging, interesting, and leaves room for inquiry in the course of 5 minutes is virtually impossible. As an artist with the prerequisite balance of presumption and egoism, I like to believe that the depth of my investigations is such that it cannot be neatly summed up, described, and evidenced through some concise means of regurgitation. Additionally, I'm here before you tonight not because the merit of my work is such that the curators of this exhibition feel strongly that I deserve a brief presentation, but rather because I have a habit of incessantly and obsessively checking my email, and was thus one of the first 12 to respond to the invitation. This is a skill for which I never would have anticipated being rewarded, but I am nonetheless incredibly grateful for the opportunity. So rather than fall short of accomplishing such lofty goals tonight in terms of demonstrating my work to all of you, I'll instead take a calculated risk. 5 minutes is a short amount of time, and many of my works ask the audience to make an inconvenient and often excruciating time commitment before I let them in on the joke. Perhaps in this way, many of the statements I'm trying to make in my work perform or could be described as shaggy dog stories, which is a form of joke that involves a complex narrative structure, some irrelevant incidents, and culminates after some excessive duration with a typically pointless or absurd punchline. So with that in mind, tonight, rather than give you a cursory glimpse at various works and projects I've made in the past, I'm going to use this time as an illustration of a few of the ideas or tactics that I find central to my artistic practice. So, to ensure that you remain at least moderately entertained, I am showing very grainy footage from Beyonce's Super Bowl performance. So, should you lose interest in what I have to say here tonight, you'll hopefully be able to distract yourself with the incredible, amazing spectacle that is Beyonce, and also the phenomenal technological accomplishment that was those moving screens that they used on stage until I finished. Fortunately, this strategy of rerouting expectation in anticipation of failure or disappointment, or an unveiling of my personal shortcomings, is actually a guiding principle in my studio practice. To give you an example, this past year, feeling the intense pressure that a rigorous MFA program places on students to work dedicatedly and tirelessly towards producing meaningful and vast bodies of work, I decided to elevate my studio practice. Rather than spending more hours executing finessed works, or returning to previous ideas and reformulating them in a way that made them more conceptually sound or communicatively succinct, rather than truly challenging myself to think and work more critically, I opted instead to raise the height of my studio's floor by 3.5 inches, thereby indisputably accomplishing what I had originally set out to do. Such flippant and antagonistic gestures serve as costumes, disguising an underlying insecurity in my own artistic merit and my capacity to live up to an arbitrary, mythical standard of creative genius. The burden of artistic endeavor, of constantly reinventing the wheel, of facilitating some formal or conceptual transformation, of engaging in magic making that results in a work of art, is entirely unreasonable. So it is for this reason that I have abandoned any aspiration towards such creative genius in my practice. Far more interesting for me is an attempt to imitate or simulate the end result with only the bare minimum requirements. What is the least amount of brilliance and effort I need to exert in order to make something convincing? How can I utilize and manipulate the accepted structures or institutions that give works of art value? How can I exploit recontextualization in order to compel or to will my gestures, my output, into the realm of art? This challenge for me requires a much more clever approach. Being economical demands ingenuity. Ultimately, I have tasked myself with the enterprise of faking it until I make it. And so if I've accomplished anything here tonight, hopefully you'll all leave convinced that I really do know what I'm doing. Thank you.